All right, parents, listen up. A Massachusetts child died this month after his family says he participated in a challenge on social media. An autopsy report has not yet been released, but the teen's family says he died from the one chip challenge. My own kids have been talking about this. It encourages people to eat an extremely spicy tortilla chip. The company that sold the chip has since pulled that product from their shelves.
I know it. You see this stuff going around the internet. So to discuss dangerous social media trends and why they're so appealing to children, we've welcomed into the program Baylor Scott and White McLean Children's Medical Center Chief Medical Officer Dominic Lucia. Doctor, thank you for being here. This one is critical because we know it's already led to one death. Would you give some examples of the types of trends or challenges that you've seen and heard about on social media that struck you as really bad advice or a bad idea?
It's been going on really for years. I work in the pediatric emergency department at McLean's ever since we opened and have seen this really with the advent of social media. And there's been several over the years that I can remember. More recently is this borax challenge, ingesting borax, which apparently there's some claims that it can fight inflammation, but it's a poison like it's always been, so bad idea. There's lots of others over the years. Benadryl, Tide Pods, cough syrup. I remember back when the kids were trying to do spoonfuls of dry cinnamon and actually inhaling it and causing lung damage. It just seems to be an evergreen source of bad information and risky behavior, and it's not going to stop anytime soon.
So why are teens especially susceptible to participating in these trends and challenges that they see on the internet?
It really comes down to two big factors. One is we know from usage data and surveys that teens in the U.S. in particular are exposed to social media daily. There's really no break. It's constantly being fed into their brains, and thusly these risk-taking challenges are oftentimes part of that they're seeing exposure-wise just constantly. And then you talk about brain development, particularly with teenagers. So that amygdala, that core part of their brain, that risk-taking part of their brain is actually growing a lot faster than that frontal lobe, which is the part that is more safe and logical and thinks through things. So they see these things, they get that big hit of dopamine sort of inside their brains, and it looks very appealing, much more appealing than it should. And so with that brain development and the constant exposure, teens are at really high risk.
Yeah, so in layman's terms, the devil on the shoulder is louder than the angel on the other shoulder when it comes to the young teenage mind. And we've done stories on the mischief that's out there. So not only is it dangerous, but you can also do things that lead to, criminal charges. So what kinds of conversations should parents be having with their children about these challenges and these trends that at the time they think might be funny or fun to do?
It comes down to constant dialogue. So we've talked about this before on this segment. You really need to be engaged with your kid, asking them questions. What are they seeing? Discussing why are these things a bad idea? Who's actually putting them out there? And where can they get good information? That's a big one. If it's safe or not, you got to have a credible source. And that can be your doctor, a credible website, or even your parent.
Yeah, and kind of getting their headspace out of that virtual world. I've heard my kids even say, oh, respawning, and they're thinking video games, you can bounce back, but in real life, that's not what happens. Dr. Lucia, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, or film it, we'll be famous.
Right.
No, it doesn't
Don't
always
want
work like that. Yeah, thank you, doctor. Okay.